Hey, thank you so much for joining us. This is Andrew Bermudez, co-founder and CEO of Digsy AI, and I'm joined here with our wonderful head of marketing and sales, Vida Carante. Say hi, Vida.
Hello, everyone.
So we'd like to get started on this. By the way, a couple of announcements. One is that in the GoToMeeting bar that you have on your computer, there's a little chat window where you can ask questions. Also, there's a little icon where you can raise your hand. If you figure it out, great. If not, just go ahead and enter any questions in the chat box. We'll be monitoring that and answering them towards the end of the presentation. But with that being said, we'll also be recording this webinar, so those of you who join late will get a copy of this so to make sure that you don't miss anything. We'll get started right now, and today we're going to talk about proven tactics to help you guys make 2018 your best banner year ever. We'll get started into this. Here's one thing that I tell everybody, not only my friends, family, my coworkers, but I say if you double the return on your input, meaning whatever you do, whether it's cold calls or investments, you're going to be the most envied person at the bank. So how do we do that? How do we become the most envied person at the bank? A few things is understanding really what your goals are and then breaking down those goals into the number of calls you need to make in 2018 and how to make them actually achievable. And we'll show you how to do that. Then two is focusing on the right targets, and then making sure that you're tracking your activity, making that easy for you so you're not doing a bunch of admin work that interrupts your workflow in trying to touch as many prospects or land meetings, and how to reduce data entry, which is the ultimate evil in sales and in commercial real estate. We spend more time doing that than actually selling, so we'll show you how to do that. A big problem, you might sense this in your daily life, but at the same time, you may not know the data behind it. But brokers are only able to spend 13 hours a week, not a month, a week, generating new deals. And why is that? The reason why is because trying to get the information that you need and entering data into your contact management system or grabbing information from a property database or trying to find at least expirations here and there eats up 16 hours of your time. You spend more time doing things that aren't generating new business than you do. So for example, you're spending 16 hours doing research and data entry and only 13 hours. If you can reduce research and data entry, you can actually get more time to be able to generate more deals or land that next meeting. However, even if you aren't able to do that, if you're able to be more efficient and effective in generating new deals with the 13 hours you do have, you're able to land even more deals. So let's make sure that we try to be as productive as possible with the 13 hours and reduce the 16 hours that we spend on non-selling work as well. So what does that mean when you waste 16 hours a week? So put it into perspective here, 16 hours equals about 128 calls you can't make. That means an additional 3 listing or 10 and rep pitch listing appointments that you have lost. So I misspoke there. So listing or 10 and rep pitch appointments that you've lost. And you know, if you're making that's $10,000 a commission, that's 30 grand. I don't see why we wouldn't want to make an extra 30 grand a month. So what we're going to show you right now is how to reverse engineer your commission goals. So let's say, for example, this year, this is just a number we threw up. You want to make $200,000. So then you average your average commission per deal. How much do you usually make? Let's say in this case you make $5,000. That means that you have to close 40 deals a year. How do we get 40 deals a year? Here's what we do. Is a standard appointment rate in sales. Some salespeople have really mastered this and get above appointment rates. Is 2%. That means if you make 100 calls, prospecting calls, you'll usually land about 2 appointments. Now, how many of those appointments do you win the business for? That depends whether whether you're good at it. Maybe you get 100%. Maybe you only get like 1 out of 3, 30%. But let's just make it 50-50. Let's say you meet with 2 people you have appointments with and you get 1 10 and rep or you get a 1 listing assignment. And out of those 2 listing assignments that you get, or 1, you close 50% of them. So you use this math and then you say, okay, how do I get to 40 deals a year given this data? And then you do the division, and we have a spreadsheet that we'll show you in a minute that does all this for you that you can download and keep on your desktop. But that means that in order to close 40 deals a year, you have to make 8,000 calls. How many calls is that a month? That's 667. That seems like a lot. However, when you break it down to calls a day, and this isn't divided by 30 days, by the way, you take 667 and divide it by 20. 20 is the average number of business days in a month. That means that you only have to make 33 calls a day. And this is great because most people start off comfortably. Anybody in sales can make 20 calls a day, between 20 to 30 to 35, depending on how efficient your tools are and how good you are at automating your workflow and research. You can definitely get to 35 calls a day, but 30 calls a day is definitely achievable. And how much time it's going to take you to do 33 calls a day? Well, let's do the math. So if you make X number of phone calls, some people pick up, some people go to voicemail, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Then you look it up in your CRM, then you log the note, then you do all this stuff. Usually if you average it out, this is a national statistic, it's about 7.5 minutes per call. And that includes people that you're talking with, right? So that means that if you have to make 33 calls at 7.5 minutes, you're gonna spend 4 hours a day prospecting. So you have to make sure that if you're working an 8-hour workday, most brokers don't. Most brokers work 10 to 12-hour workdays. That gives you a little bit better ability to do 4 hours. But if you are working 8 hours, you have to split your day in half and be absolutely ruthless with your time. So this is what the commission calculator looks like right here. It basically, you can download this and we'll give you the link. You can see the link here, but in the next section, we'll make it nice and big. But it will show you, you enter the data that you want and it'll tell you how many calls you have to make. And you can actually download this calculator right now at digsy.co/calculator. So if you're in a browser, go ahead and do that. And what I'm going to show you is I'm going to show you how it works. And we're going to see that the commission calculator is up. So let's say, for example, I want to make $400,000 a year. And my company doesn't provide a base salary, so I'm at zero. So it says this is how many commissions I have to earn. I have to earn $400,000 in commissions. I actually make about $20,000 per deal gross. This is your gross number. And then on average, if I meet 2 people for a tenant rep or listing pitch, I usually land one of them, so 50%. And then out of those people that I meet, usually about 50% of them close. The rest decide to stay, or something happens, we can't find a buyer or a tenant. That means that in order for me to get my $400,000, I need to close 20 deals this year. That means that I have to close 2 deals a month, and the number of appointments I have to set per month are 7, right? How am I going to get 7 appointments a month? It says that every month, if I'm making $20,000 per deal and I'm targeting that type of customer, I have to make 333 cold calls a month, which means I only have to do 17 a day. And here's my book appointment rate. So this is the book appointment rate that I had mentioned earlier. On average, it's 2%. If you feel that you're making 10 calls and booking 3 or 4 meetings, bump this up. You may want to go to 4%. And that will change the number significantly, because now I only have to make 8 calls a day, as you can see that. But I'm going to put it back at 2. And then all these numbers are just legends for you to know how this data is getting computed. So go ahead and download the calculator here. And once you have this number, you know how many deals you have to close a year, you know how many appointments you need to set a month, and you know how many calls you need to make to be able to set those appointments as well. And that's per day, right? So you have to make 333 calls a month to land 7 appointments. So that takes care of that part. Once you know what your goal is and how many calls you have to do, now you get into how to ensure and make it more, and try to ensure the possibility that you'll reach your goals. And what this means is, most people don't know this, but sales is art, that's what they say, but sales is more science than an art. Art helps you get the metrics up. Art helps you get from a 2% appointment rate to a 3 or a 4 or a 5. I've seen people with appointment rates targeting the right customers as high as 12%, which is huge. So we're going to go into the next thing, which is once you know how many calls you have to do, how many appointments you have to set, how many deals you have to close a year, you have to target the right people. So one thing is, never, ever, ever let yourself waste time on the wrong prospects. Every hour that you're actually spending time with them or pursuing the wrong person burns hundreds of dollars in your pocket, depending on how much you make a year. Just do the division and see how much you actually make an hour. And it might be $100 for you. For another person who closes and makes $500,000, it may be close to $600 an hour. So you have to be very careful on how much it costs you to sit idle or focusing the wrong individuals. So how do we get around that? How do we know the right prospects? So the right prospects are people who will yield your average commission. For example, in my example, I had to find people who will yield me $20,000 a month, right? In the other example, and the initial example I had shown is $5,000 a month. So let's go with $5,000 a month for now. So anybody that I have to target at least has to yield that. And the other thing too is I have to make sure that I could be targeting the right party, but hey, are they gonna move this year? Are they gonna buy this year? Are they gonna sell their building this year? So we're gonna go into that. So how do you make sure that we're targeting the right person who's going to yield the average commission? That's easy. The way that we do it is if you've got square footage for a database, maybe you're looking up a list or you're looking up comps, you got to look at their current square foot size. If you don't have square foot, there's a quick little cheat, especially in Office, employee count. So usually you use parking ratios. So usually a standard parking ratio is about 4 parking stalls for every 1,000 square feet, different in different states, different districts, but let's just use 4. So if they have 4 employees, usually that's 1,000 square feet. So you can do the math there. Also, what's your perception of their possible growth? Is this a law firm, which tends to be static? Or is it a fast-growing tech company? Because they might be at 20 employees today, but you knowing the industry and how fast it's moving, they might be at 25 or 30 or 50 employees later this year. And then you also look at average rents and sale prices, and that gets you your target individual, as well as, hey, if they were to look for space today, what lease term would they have to sign? What is the expected lease term by the landlord? Is it 2 years, 3 years, 4 years? So I'm going to show you an example of this. Here at the top on the green, there's a legend. I'm looking at companies that are 50 employees. They're software companies. The average square foot for those type of tenants is about $60 per square foot per year, and the landlord expects a 4-year lease term. So I'm going to do that math. I'm going to get 50 employees, right? If you divide by 4, you get 12. And then all of a sudden you're around 12,500 square feet. It's a software company, so they're at 50 employees now, but I know that tech is growing, so I expect them to, within this year, add another 25 to 50 individuals. So now I know that, hey, this company, maybe I should just target software companies between 50 employers and higher because, they're going to grow to this much. So within this, you're able to estimate the square foot range. So how many square feet do they need for 75 people? About 19,000. How about for 100 people? 25,000. So let's just pick 25,000 for this example. Then we grab 25,000 and multiply by the annual square foot per year for a property that they're going to have to occupy. That's a $1.5 million in rent a year, and they have to sign a 4-year lease. So now that's 1.5 million times 4 is 6 million. So if I'm, getting a 3% commission, that's in some markets. In some markets, the landlords pay by square foot. You just use the number that makes sense for you. And what I end up is with a $180,000 commission. So once I do this, and I know which companies are growing and I'm targeting, now I will go to my database, or like I'm buying a database from, let's say, a company like Prospect Now or Inside Prospects, or companies like Zoom Info, or companies like Info USA. Also, a lot of people use LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a great resource to be able to see quickly land companies that are in technology or software or internet within this. So I would use that to create your list. The next step, now that we know what our goal is on deals we want to close, how much we want to make a year, then we know, okay, this is who I'm going to target, who's likely to potentially, here's my profile of people who will yield my commission. Now I want to see, okay, who is likely to move? So usually if you're doing leasing, you want to target people between 6 to 12 months out. If you get to 3, most likely they're already working with a broker, or they're probably already down the path. Usually bigger companies need a lot more time, so 6 is usually the minimum, 6 to 8. Also, who's likely to move? Look at industries poised for growth. Are they a hardware company that occupies industrial space that's in 3D printing, or an industrial manufacturer in some growing facet of business in general? Are they a tech company? So you're looking at people not only with lease expirations if you have that data, but companies that are poised for growth. You know that, for example, I know tech's growing. I'm gonna target tech companies because they're likely to need more space this year. Another thing too is to look up companies, and you can go on job boards like Indeed and different things to look at what companies are on a hiring spree. Companies who are on a hiring spree are adding bodies. Adding bodies means more space. Also look at areas of high rent and sales price growth. Some of those individuals in those spaces or those buildings are going to be priced out. They're going to probably have to downgrade. Or let's say individuals in lesser class buildings, like Class B buildings, their rent may price them out, will need to move down, or you'll be able to find tenants in larger buildings that can move there. So they kind of tie in together. I won't go too much into detail on this, but we did do a presentation, and you can download the slides and view all that stuff at digsy.co/moving tenants. So there's a bunch of tricks on how to find companies that are ready to move. So digsy.co/moving tenants. Go ahead and download that. So once we have that data, we know how many calls we have to make to reach our goal. We know who we need to target, and we know who's likely to move. The next thing to know is, okay, well, when should I be spending those 4 hours or 3 hours prospecting? So this is actually data from lead response management. There's companies like McKinsey and different big known research firms who have done this. And the best times to cold call and prospect are usually these little green buckets you see right here. So usually on Monday, people are busy. The data shows that you don't want to call in the morning, but if you're going to prospect, between 3 and 6 p.m. is good. And then on Tuesdays, you want to do it from 8 to 10 a.m. and then nothing really happens between 11 and 2, so that's the time that you may want to do other work. And then from 3 to 6, that's when you jump on the phones, because that's where people are most successful. And then you carry that same pattern of 8 to 10 to 3 to 6, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And then on Fridays, what you find is that you might get better lift from 8 to 10 a.m., but then the rest of the day you don't get lift. Now, something you have to be careful about is, I talk to a lot of salespeople and a lot of brokers, and what they say is like, well, I always call on Fridays and I get a hold of the decision maker. Yeah, you will if your target is somebody in a smaller company. Usually, when a company becomes more successful, the CEO or the decision maker on these larger companies tend to be more high level. So they're not so much stuck in the office. They have people to do that. So you won't get a hold of the decision maker. So usually in these time periods, you might make 10 calls and talk to 1 or 2 people. But it might take you here, if you're targeting larger companies, it may take you 20 or 25 calls to get the same output. So that means you get lower ROI here. It doesn't mean you can't make calls. But I would suggest that if you're targeting larger companies, you probably don't want to be here. But it varies from industry to industry, and some people are just very talented at being able to get people at some time. But that's what the data shows, and you can look at this information here. You can also download this at digsy.co/call times. And we'll be distributing a copy of this presentation. All right, so the next question is, all right, well, cold calling is one part and prospecting is one part, but I need to do deals, I need to tour people, I need to write proposals. So all you do is you look at that same document that we showed you. So you can see the little red little strike throughs here. Those are the times you don't want to do that. So if you're going to be touring or writing proposals, Monday, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m., you're safe. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 11 a.m. to 2. On Friday, go ahead and take off. Enjoy your weekend, or go tour and write proposals and do research from 11 to 6. That's it. You can also download this one at digsy.co proposal tour time. All right. So the next thing is, okay, so I'm going to make a bunch of calls. How do I know what my progress is? Well, activity tracking is going to be essential. Did you make the right number of calls or right number of emails today? So there's a couple ways to do it. Now, brokers, you all know this. People hate data entry, and usually when you're working with a CRM, it requires that you create a record and put information in there, try to copy or forward an email or copy and paste. So you want to get rid of all that stuff. So you want to make it easy for yourself, because actually every time that you're wasting time entering data, it's time that you're robbing away from making that next call. So you want to make it super easy. One really easy way to do is just create a printout, and we have one that you can download to track calls and emails, right? Just keep in mind that if you're making calls and emails and you don't have that piece of paper with you, it may take you some time to do that. You may not have the printout with you. but that's super easy, and we have a printout for you. The second is make it automatic and bake it into your prospecting or CRM software. So at Digsy AI, we have this built in. For those, I see quite a bit of Digsy AI users, so I'm sure you guys are using this, but the system will automatically track your phone calls, log them in there, so you can actually know how many calls you're making at the end of the day. So here's the prospecting activity tracker. You can print the slide by visiting digsy.co activity tracker, and you just put the year and the month, and then here are the 4 weeks of the month. And then what I personally do is if I make a phone call, I put C. Let's say I make 5 phone calls, I put C, 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 and then basically, or 10 phone calls, and I'll strike it once I hit 10. So I do it in a matter of 5. And I'll write EEE for emails. So I want to basically track not only the number of emails I make on that Tuesday or Monday, I'm sorry, or Tuesday, etc., but how many emails? Is it when I email more that I'm getting better results at landing appointments and getting deals than it is making calls, etc.? So you can use this and print it out up here so you can actually use it. It's a little bit cleaner version than this one. Or you can use Digsy's automatic tracking. So for those of you that are familiar with Digsy, Digsy actually talks to your email, calendar, and contacts. It talks to your cell phone and your landline. Really easy to set up with 3 clicks. And it not only talks to it, but it tells them what to do. So if you want to email somebody, or if you're through Digsy, or if you're emailing somebody from your Outlook or your Gmail, Digsy automatically picks it up. Same thing, you can actually click to dial, call, and you can call people from your cell phone or your smartphone, and it will automatically track that call. So you can actually see the number of prospects you get, and you can see who's not prospecting in case you run a team and things like that. But you can see what your appointment rate. Obviously, we have a better appointment rate than most people here. So it's tracking your prospecting emails, your calls, and your follow-ups. Makes it really easy to do that. The other thing is that you want to do is it has a lot to do with to try to minimize the amount of time that you're researching and you're doing data entry, because that actually frees up time for you to be able to prospect more, and the efficiencies you get from what I'm about to go through can actually elevate and let you touch more people in less time, which means that you can do most of your prospecting in less time that you're spending today. But at the same time, it's actually freeing you up to do even more of it, which should lift your numbers even more. So there's 3 tricks to removing obstacles to your productivity. One is auto dialers. The second one's follow-up automation and automating data entry. So what you want to do is you want to get an auto dialer. If you have a CRM, or if you've got a prospecting software, try to find a third-party system that allows you to just click and dial. The reason why is it's going to increase your talk times by 200 to 300%. The source is tenfold. That means you can auto dial, not waste time dialing and logging calls. You can actually do that. So at an auto dialer, yeah, it will cost you a little bit extra fee, but usually as you land deals, one deal usually closes more than pays for your investment there. At Digsy AI, this comes with a software. We have a native auto dialer. So for example, you click on a contact record, it auto dials from your cell phone to your landline. It automatically knows how long the call was, if they answered or if they left voicemail. You can quickly set and click a follow-up so that you can follow up and it reminds you the next day, and it logs a call for you. So you just go to the record, click dial, send it, and you're done, and you move on to the next record. So you want to achieve levels of that in whatever system you're using today. The next thing is sales lives and dies by follow-ups. So usually, if you look at the statistics, more than 80% of sales are made between the 5th and the 8th touch. So you have to follow up. However, if you are touching base with prospects, the more follow-ups you add, the more follow-ups you end up having, so they compound. So over a period of a week, 2 weeks, or a month, you may have gone from 10 follow-ups to 1,000 follow-ups. So it's super important that you automate that process so you can actually perform that and elevate your ability to generate listing or 10 rep pitch appointments and also get that account. So you want to be able to add some software. Everybody has different CRMs, prospecting tools, so just do a Google search online. Yeah, you're going to pay an extra monthly fee, but like I said before, it's going to pay off. It's going to pay off huge, especially. You may have to get your IT guy to go in there and put it together, but trust me, I mean, once you are able to touch more people, Most salespeople give up, 80% of salespeople give up after one follow-up. You just use that against them and you're like a follow-up machine, you're going to crush your competition. So what we did is, in Digsy AI, we also include follow-up automation. So that's already included, no extra fee. So you can actually see all your follow-ups, your overdue, your todays. It suggests follow-ups that based on different intelligence triggers. And then you can click send follow-up and automatically creates a follow-up template. You can also click to call and quickly follow up, and you can reschedule this follow-up just by clicking the little calendar icon. Last but not least, automate your data entry. So anything you can do to automate your data entry, instantly getting contacts into your system, whether they're business cards, people who emailed you, or inbound leads from LoopNet or anything like that, and log the activities like we showed you with the auto dialer and also sending emails. That pays off huge because most people detest data entry. I'm willing to bet that 8 out of 10 of you in this webinar have a stack of business cards on your desk that's probably been sitting there for 6 months. And you probably know and feel guilty every time because there's 2 or 3 people in there that you should have followed up with last year and you just didn't because you didn't have an easy way to keep in touch with them or have a tickler for them. So anything you can do that, from business card scanners to different services, you need to do that. Deal opportunities won't fall through the cracks. You'll be able to follow up easier as long as you add those different tools, but easier to get them in the system, schedule a follow-up and book meetings. That reduced data entry, like we mentioned, you spend 16 hours a week in data entry and research. You only spend 13 hours generating new business. You can actually reduce that and get more time to make more money. So reduced data entry means more time to follow up and call, and that means more deals. So we actually have that in Digsy AI as well. In case for those of you interested, you can take a picture of a business card. The system will transcribe it. We have human error autocorrection, and you get an email saying all of your business cards are done. What you can also do is Digsy AI talks to your Outlook or your email system and contacts in real time. So anything that's in your Outlook or Gmail, it's already in Digsy. Then you can just click a button to actually add them to the pipeline officially. You can do that one click, or you can upload a spreadsheet. Also, if you're working out of Outlook or Gmail or your smartphone, Apple Mail, etc., any emails that are sent through those devices, even if it's through Outlook or even if it's through a third-party email app on your phone, as long as you're sending it from your work, it's going to go in there and you're going to be able to track the progress. For those of you who aren't aware of what Digsy AI is, we're a commercial real estate sales platform. It talks to different systems like email, calendar, contacts, data service, property data service, your telephone, your landline, and even your internal databases if your IT has made them able to talk to other systems. And it gives you one interface from which you can do all of your work, send and receive email, make phone calls, automate the data entry, give you contextual information from different systems for that same contact, so that way you can sell more in less time. It'll save you 16 hours. It'll surface the information that you need to make the call immediately rather than jump between different systems to get that data. So you have a full 360-degree view of that. You can, like I mentioned, you can interface with email, calendar, contacts within Digsy AI. You can send and receive email, make phone calls from Digsy AI, or you can do them from your Outlook. And it automates. It can also talk to different systems. So if corporate has you wanting to report the data on Salesforce, your IT person can talk to our team and get the hooks to be able to push your activity from Digsy into those systems. So think of Digsy as a system that talks to each other and gives you one simple interface that automates everything for you so you can spend more time generating business. So if you guys have any questions about that, reach out to us, but that's something else. And one beautiful quote that Vita actually added to this was, "The secret to productivity is simplicity." And that was by Robin Sharma, and I agree. The more simple you can make everything, all the workflows, and remove complexity, the more happier and simple you will be and successful as well. So with that being said, you guys can email sales team with any questions about the product, but you can also ask any questions here in the chat. So we'll jump to questions, I guess.
Sure.
Do we have any questions?
Yes, we do. We have John. He asked, what is the website address to the calculator, the commissions calculator?
That's a good question. Okay, so the address, let me see if I can go to that slide.
I have it ready too. So it's digsy.co/calculator.
Yeah.
And then we'll send that out as well as a recording. So you should have that in your email very soon, next couple of days. We have Frank. He asked, which CRM do you recommend?
Well, that would be an unfair question for us because, of course, we're going to recommend Digsy AI. Digsy AI is not necessarily CRM. CRM is a technology that was built in 1985. A lot of people have been trying to make a better CRM, and it's evident that we can't solve the problem and the complexity and the amount of work that CRM creates at the same level of thinking we created it in 1985. So I would go, whatever system you find out there, go after something that automates getting contacts in there, talks to your email calendar and contacts. You can work within that CRM. Everything you do there will show in your Outlook and your email calendar. You can work, it'll auto dial for you, it'll eliminate data entry, and it'll make it super easy for you to follow up. If you can get all of those things, usually CRMs will give you a fraction of that, and then you can tack on different tools like Cirrus Insight and different things to be able to do that. It will increase your cost, so if you're paying $40 for that and you're adding different tools to make the business card scan and to make sync your emails and do templates and all of that stuff, you're probably going to be around north of $150 a month. But if you like the CRM and you're able to do that and you're tech savvy, you don't have to get involved, do it. But the faster you can get a system to do that, you can do that. Those are the problems that we attack with Digsy AI, but it would be unfair for me to say that and call out one specific one because we went through the same pain, and that's why we built Digsy AI.
Yep. So we have Chad. He goes, Digsy AI, does Digsy AI have an automated call and email log so I don't have to track manually?
Yes. And it works from your cell phone and your landline. So it takes 2 clicks to set up. And if you're interested, we can show you how to do that. So just email us at salesteam@digsy.ai, and we'll be happy to show you how that works.
And does Digsy AI have a phone app?
If you're asking about does it have a smartphone app, we don't have a native iPhone app. However, Digsy AI works in the browser. When you get the email in the morning from Digsy Bot that tells you here are our follow-ups, when you click that link, it'll open up your mobile browser on your smartphone, and it gives you a version that is very fluid that you can do all your work. So you can do it out on the field as well. So native app will become later, much later this year. But if you're asking about a telephone app, the telephone app is built into Digsy AI, and when you make calls from Digsy AI, the recipient will see your cell phone or your landline number. You choose which number they want to see, so they're not getting called. If you're calling a client, they won't know that some random computer number is coming through. It'll actually show that it's you.
Do you have any recommendations on the best times to email?
We do. Vida may have, you just did some of this stuff. Do you remember?
Yeah, usually the best times are from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. The best days, it kind of varies, but we notice that the highest open rates are Tuesdays. But I could definitely create some kind of content and share with you guys, as well as like another sheet for best times to email.
Yeah, the one thing that I've noticed is never email after hours. That just gets lost, and then by the time they get in the morning, it's just buried. It's better to email where we have our most success because we use our own service, and before we built Digsy, we used different tools. Our best success has been between sending emails early in the morning between 8 and 10, and then when they open up the email and we see they open up multiple times, we'll call them right away. That's something that Digsy AI does for you. It says, hey, these people seem to be very interested. We'll call them. It's good to have some sort of tracking, but between 8 to 10 a.m. is usually pretty good, and then we'll jump back like around like 2:30, 3 o'clock till about 5, and then after that we'll cut it off. We won't send emails after that. We'll try to schedule them for the next day or just wait. But usually what you want to do is if you are sending email, if you have email tracking software, we built this into Digsy AI too, and for those of you who are users, you want to know when they open the email. You want to know if they've opened the email. If they open the email multiple times, it's usually a sign that there's something interesting there. So what we do personally, which is our hack, is we call that prospect immediately. It's not only sending the email, but it's being able to say, hey, dear email, tell me how engaged this prospect is, and usually that lets you search. Even if they don't respond or call you, you're able to kind of preempt that and reach out to them because you can see signs of that. Just don't call them and say, I see that you opened my email like 12 times. That gets creepy, but you can use the data to your benefit.
Cool. So we have Jack. He's an industrial broker, and he does a lot of prospecting, foot canvassing. How can he use Digsy AI to improve his conversion rates?
Yeah, so main thing is if you're canvassing, you're probably coming back with a lot of business cards. Getting those into a database is very time consuming, especially when you got to spend about anywhere between 3 to 4 hours on the phone to be able to grow your business. So that would be the main thing is when you come back, just either put them through a scanner or take pictures with your cell phone and then just send those cards over to Digsy AI and then they'll get into the system. And then once they're in the system, you'll see them all into what's called an inbox. So it isolates new contacts. You can quickly check the ones that you want and you can tag them like hot leads and then immediately go after the hot leads that you discovered during that canvassing. And then you can, once you're done with those hot leads and you schedule meetings with them, then you can go and move through the rest of the individuals, or move them to like a different bucket. Like, hey, I stopped by there, and I'm gonna follow up in a month because they told me to follow up. Then they might need some more space and things like that. And we can show you how to do all this stuff in case you're interested. But I would, if I was canvassing, which I did when I was a commercial real estate broker for over a decade, the best thing you can do is figure out a way to get those cards in there, because otherwise those leads just go to die.
All right, and we also have another question. Does the program work with Deals Help? Deals Help is our program we use after an opportunity is signed up.
If it's got an API, we can investigate whether we can work with them or not. But I'd love to know more about Deals Help, because I have not looked into that. So if you don't mind emailing our team, and they'll put you in touch with me. Would love to chat more.
Cool. I saw Prospect Now on the slide. Is that Digsy interface getting close?
Yeah, so here's an update on the Prospect Now. So if you are doing a lot of listing work, if you're doing a lot of, you're basically pursuing sellers, investors, etc., we have this integration with Prospect Now where, let's say somebody emails you on Outlook, you look at that record in Digsy AI. Digsy AI automatically pings different databases and says, oh, this prospect owns the following property and this information is coming from Prospect Now. If you have a Prospect Now account, I can talk to Digsy AI. The API for Prospect Now, we had an initial one. The API, as of the end of the year, they discovered some issues that they needed to do some refinements. So the CEO reached out to me and said, hey, let us finish this up before we do a full push on it. But if you have a Prospect Now account, we can get your contacts in there. It just won't be a live feed yet. It looks like they still need till about the middle to the end of February.
And can we integrate his Act account into Digsy?
No, usually what will happen is we'll export the data from Act into Digsy AI, and Digsy AI will become your primary interface. Unfortunately, Act is an older technology, and I don't say that in a bad way. I used to use Act for many years. I used to build software on top of Act for commercial real estate, and there's a lot of challenges there. It doesn't have the automation that you really need, so you will want to do an export to that. Now, if you had something like a Salesforce.com or something like that, what we find a lot of our users is they'll use Digsy AI as their daily driver, because they can do a lot more with less complexity in the interface and cumbersomeness. And then they'll just, with the help of IT, we'll just set up their accounts to push that data into Salesforce instantly. So usually these bigger implementations have the APIs and the modern technology to be able to interact with other systems. Unfortunately, Act doesn't interact with other systems.
All right. Are we able to get the slides after the presentation? Yes, Jordan, we're going to send over those slides as soon as possible, probably within the next couple of days, along with the recording. So you should get that in your email by the end of this week. Does it speak with all Salesforce apps? Example, Ascendix. So
Ascendix has APIs. I'd have to look into whether it will talk to an app via Salesforce. That might be kind of tough. You may want to just have Ascendix talk directly to Digsy AI. So we can visit that a little more. Usually what will happen is your IT department will talk with us about that, and we'll tell them how to make it happen, so that way you can have that integration in there. Anything else?
No, I think we're all set. We usually have webinars every month, so look forward to those announcements in your email. And once again, we'll get that recording out to you by the end of the week along with the slides. So thank you so much. for
Yeah.
joining us.
Thank you so much, guys. We'll go ahead and fulfill those promises and send you all the materials. And thank you for hanging out with Vita and I today. We had a lot of fun.
Yep.
All right, bye, everyone.
Bye.